Hey everybody, my name is Jennifer. This is Metatron speaking, and today's video is going to be the fourth of eight. I hope that's right. It's going to be the fourth out of eight messages that I'll be giving this month from eight different spirit guides, giving eight different messages, all related to abundance and related to the 888 portal energies that are happening this month in August. Today's message is from Lao Tzu. So he is someone who I've channeled a couple other times. He was, when he was alive, he was a Chinese philosopher. He is an ascended master now. Let me just tell you what he said. So I started off by asking him to feel his energy. And I ask that with guides that I don't normally channel because I don't know if I'm getting the right person or not. So I'm just checking in to feel the energy to make sure this is a high vibrational energy. Because really, anybody can say they're an ascended master or say they're Lao Tzu, but only Lao Tzu feels the way he feels, right? So he has a subtle energy. And he approaches me and he's wearing a yellow robe, which makes me laugh because look at this picture. He's wearing yellow. So he's like in a yellow robe and he's sitting down and he's pouring himself like a cup of tea. And it's from a dark brown teapot. And he says, I need to get comfortable for this. And I was like, for our conversation? And he's really chill. He's just like sipping his tea and he's like, yes, I expect this may take a while. And so, side note, this is hilarious because it took me probably 5 days to go from this first point of starting to channel him to actually finishing it because so many things came up. So now in hindsight, I know that he knew that. And so he's being hilarious by being like, I'm going to get comfortable because it's going to take you 5 days to actually channel this information. So when he says it's going to take a while, I say, are we doing something before I channel your message? And he says, yes. And I was like, oh, are we going to do a past lifetime? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay, I don't know what we're doing. So then I just try to tune into my clairvoyance to see what he's doing. He comes up to me. He stands on my right. He places one hand on my shoulder and one hand on my palm. And I can feel energy from him in these places. When he is done, he moves to the left side of me and does the left shoulder and left palm. And when he's doing it, all I can think is, this feels like dragon energy, which is a strange thing to say because I don't even know that I know what dragon energy feels like. But in the moment, I knew that whatever he was doing felt like that. So I said it feels like dragon energy. And then I see this like silhouette of a yellow air dragon, which is like the air dragons are long and skinny. They fly, but they don't really have wings, which is kind of the strange part. But they're very like Chinese styled dragons with like the long whiskers and stuff. So I see like this yellow air dragon, and then it just kind of disappears. And I was talking to him about the dragon, and he calls it yellow dragon. So I'm like, okay. And I ask to interact with the dragon since he showed it to me. And I asked to feel the dragon's energy. It felt male, even though all dragons are male and female. So they might feel male, they might feel female, they might feel like both, they might switch back and forth. At that moment, it felt like male energy to me. And then I realized something. So I said to him, this is your dragon form, which is a crazy thing to say because I have no idea what I was saying. But when I said that, I knew that all ascended masters have a dragon form, is what he's saying. So I said, oh, this is your dragon form. The yellow dragon glides smoothly through the air, almost playfully. And then instead of Lao Tzu talking to me, Lao Tzu steps back and just the dragon is talking to me. And the yellow dragon says, "This is a form I enjoy. Each of us moves through many different forms and many different bodies throughout our existence. Forms are like clothing to us. One moment, we feel like a dragon. The next, we feel like a beautiful woman." And when he says this, he changes from a dragon into a beautiful woman. So now he's like a beautiful Chinese woman wearing this like elaborate yellow robe. And then she looks at me and she laughs. And then she kind of just poofs and she disappears. And again, there's the yellow dragon. Yellow dragon positions himself in front of me. So he was just, because he's been moving the whole time, he kind of just stays in front of me. And when he stays in front of me, this is the craziest thing to try to explain because it doesn't match up with what we experience in 3D. So the dragon is still in front of me, but all of the tips of the dragon's scales are still like moving or radiating. Hard thing to describe since we don't have that here. He glows yellow now, a blinding yellow light. And then I feel sick in my solar plexus. And so earlier I had asked, and I didn't record this part, but earlier I had asked Lao Tzu, I said, are you going to be healing me? And he said, no. And so he does this bright yellow light off of this dragon, and I can feel it in my solar plexus, and I feel sick, which means something yucky is in me trying to get out. And so I asked him, I said, I thought you weren't going to heal me. And Yellow Dragon says, I'm not. I'm showing you what health feels like. When part of the body is used to feeling unwell and it is then introduced to healthy circumstances, it makes the unwell portion suddenly feel foreign instead of familiar. And so I was telling him, I'm like, well, I don't have like physical problems with my solar plexus. So he must be talking about spiritual or energetic issues with my solar plexus. So the solar plexus is in control of your sovereignty, your willpower, your courage, your confidence, all of these things. And so I asked him, are you referencing my willpower, courage, and confidence? And he says, yes. They have been sick for so long that it is familiar and comfortable for you to feel weak, unsure, or freeze up when you need to act. You quietly back down, but when healthy, the solar plexus roars. How can you have abundance when you hesitate to engage? Abundance needs flow, action, movement. Trauma leads each of you to be uncertain, to overthink, to avoid, to shrink back. Fear of failure causes many to never try at all. You heal this with awareness. Be aware of your own reaction and whether it aligns with your best interests. When you feel powerless to enact change, then you know you are falling into a feeling of helplessness, and that is a trauma response. While you cannot change other people, you can always change yourself. Changing yourself, changing your behaviors and your thoughts is what changes outcomes. Staying stuck in a trauma response will allow your behavior history to repeat itself. And in turn, history in your physical world may repeat. At times, you may conquer. I'm like, what did I say here? I spelled it wrong. At times, you may conquer this, but at other times, slip into comfortable habits. Becoming aware of yourself regularly, daily, will prevent old habits from taking hold. Over time, a new habit is formed, one where you are easily aware of your reactions and thoughts. Awareness of self-sabotaging thoughts and behaviors allows you to change them in that moment and change your future. So this is the end of the message. So Lao Tzu, in his dragon form, gave this message. So he's talking about all of us have trauma responses that come very naturally to us. And so we don't even recognize that we're unwell. We don't even recognize that we are responding in a way that's like harmful for ourselves, right? Like he gave the example of it's time to take action, but you're freezing up, right? Or it's time to step up and you're backing away. How can you have abundance when you hesitate to engage? He's saying that abundance energy needs movement, which is a theme that has come across several of these messages that I've channeled recently. So, action, choices, decisions, that movement is needed to bring the abundance to you. If everything's energetically frozen, nothing can come in, nothing can move. You have to initiate that movement. So he's saying, become aware of your reaction. So notice when something's going on and you go into a trauma response reaction where you're behaving in a way that's not in your best interest. Start identifying that so that you can start changing that slowly. Just because we become aware of something doesn't mean that all of a sudden, boom, we just perfectly change it from there on out. No, that's just not how humans work. It takes us time to learn that new habit and to learn that it's better for us to try that new thing. It takes time to get out of that deep groove of, okay, every time this happens, I respond this way. So, but this is part of healing, and this is part of bringing in new energies into your life in areas where you have resistance or lack of activity or lack of movement or, that kind of freeze energy. You want to unfreeze the energy in your life everywhere so that it can move naturally and naturally bring things to you. Okay. So this is the message from Lao Tzu. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.